Hello, my name's Tommy Flanagan, and welcome to the latest episode in the Faultline podcast, where I'm joined by the inimitable Andy Waltenspiel. How are you today, Andy?
Hi, Tommy. Thank you for being with me because no, it's not your podcast.
Wait.
It's my podcast, and I'm interviewing you for a change. Hello, and welcome to another edition of Connecting the Dots. My name is Andy Waltenspiel, and I'm running a boutique consultancy working with operators and vendors on go-to-market strategy, innovation, and thought leadership. And today, Tommy is my guest.
Wow, I must have just gone into autopilot there. This is unfamiliar territory for me. I'm supposed to be the one asking questions.
This time we're gonna do it the other way around, and I'm sure that will be a very exciting experience, at least for you, audience. For you, we'll see.
Hopefully you're more kind in your questioning than I am to most of my interviewees.
We'll find out. Tommy, so tell us, the viewers, a bit about you and Faultline. You're the editor of Faultline, the one and only podcast in the industry after the most successful one, which is mine, right?
Of course.
But you're the most well-known. How did you call it in your LinkedIn post the other day? The most famous person.
Yeah, well, it's a toss-up between famous and the second most famous to you, depending on the day of the week. But yeah, for anyone unfamiliar with what we do, I'll just give you the short version. Rethink is the umbrella company. Faultline is a weekly B2B news and analysis publication, that scrutinizes the media and entertainment ecosystem. We look at the underlying trends, that make markets tick. We look at where money's coming from, where it's disappearing from, how technologies kind of interweave and overlap. And we do that in a very concise and opinionated style of reporting. And that's why Faultline has built up quite a fierce reputation. The bottom line is really, if you're not reading Faultline, then you're not going to be as well informed and as strategically well positioned as your rivals to make the business decisions that count when it really counts, when it really matters, like right now during turbulent and uncertain economic conditions. And the very British analogy that I like to use is that we are like Marmite. You either love us or you hate us, and trust me, you don't get to do this gig without making a few foes along the way. So yeah, that's Faultline in a nutshell.
So I mean, people know you have a very unique style. It's at least entertaining, no sugarcoating, cut through the clutter, cut through the bullshit, which is there's so much going on in an industry, and we're going to talk about some of that. So let's talk about all this advertising. Fast is the hype word these days. We've both been at NAB. We heard it there. Companies like Amagi have a big booth and apparently great success. What's your take? Is that something? Is it a hype? Is it going somewhere? Is it making a few people rich and the rest will struggle? And no, Mr. Operators, you will not make millions. What do you think?
Yeah, fast. Yeah, it's massively overhyped. You've hit the nail on the head there. It's there've been so many forecasts that just telling people what they want to hear. I fear, and I honestly have no idea where they're getting these numbers from, because no one apart from a handful of US platforms and Amagi on the vendor side admittedly is appears to be making a load of money, but apart from them, I don't see anyone making any serious money from fast channels. Like something like the latest report I read, something like 80% of these fast revenues are coming from a handful of US companies, 5 companies, maybe even less than that, and that's just a huge monopoly. So the fact that people think they can make billions from this market is bizarre. But I'm hearing some very conflicted things. Some people see huge value in having truly personalized fast channels. Others see it as glorified playlists. So there's a debate whether people actually want, on the consumer side, whether you actually want personalized fast channels or not.
I was surprised when fast was starting to be big in Europe. I said, since I'm a kid in the 80s, so I have gray hair, I watch free TV advertising based. You see it every day. I said, what's new? Okay, now it's streaming. It could be personalized. By the way, cheers. I saw you.
Yes, we didn't cheers.
You're drinking on your own. Tommy, what's going on? Okay, so I'm prepared. I'm having
Cheers.
liquid death. And guess what it is? It's water. I bought it in Las Vegas. It's bottled in Austria, shipped over the pond. Fantastic segue for sustainability. There's a lot of stuff going on, lots of press releases. What is really behind? What is greenwashing? What is actual movement in the right direction?
Yeah, so I mean, probably it was only probably about 4 years ago, maybe, that kind of sustainability started being the very forefront of our coverage personally in Faultline. And we have kind of taken it upon ourselves to be the ones calling out blatant greenwashing. You know, Apple's a very easy example. You know, Apple says it wants its supply chain. It recently sent a rallying cry to all the manufacturers in its supply chain, telling them that they need to address their scope 3 emissions better. You know, Apple itself has got questionable reporting around its scope 3 emissions, and you know, worse, Apple is, you know, actively opposed to reducing e-waste because it makes so much money from shipping proprietary charging cables. So Apple has this shiny, we want to be carbon neutral on this part of the business, but over here we still want to make millions from charging cables, and are opposed to these e-waste regulations. You know, so most of our sustainability coverage kind of focuses more on sort of efficiency gains in the delivery network side. And you know, we have our finger on the pulse with what's going on inside the greening of streaming working groups. So I'd say our coverage is probably kind of unrivaled in these kind of niche sectors of sustainability. And you know, I'm moderating a panel at Streaming Media East in Boston on Friday the 19th of May. That'll be next Friday. So anyone in Boston, if you're there, come along. I'll be calling out the greenwashers live on stage. So you just can't not pay attention because it's so close to all of us. We have to try and do something better, and my job is to tell other people to do things better, reduce where they can, make minor gains here, minor gains there, and we're trying to set a bar and spread awareness.
That reduce where you can. I mean, that could be done a lot more. The question is, how much does it cost? Discussions are here like, if it's cheaper, fantastic, let's go for it. As long as it's same price, still okay. But if I'm at 2% or 5% more expensive, then no, sorry, we need to cut cost.
Yeah, that is true. But I think, a lot of technologies are at the point now where more efficient, greener ones are cheaper. I think they're sort of coming hand in hand now.
Do you think the industry will self-regulate, or do we need some regulation or like laws?
Oh, depends on which side of the pond you're on. I mean, the EU is Europe is over-regulated, and the US is probably under-regulated, but doing a lot less in setting the bar for sustainability. So some sort of middle ground would be great if someone is smart enough or powerful enough to figure that out.
Good. Let's talk about consolidation. I mean, when we prepared this interview, I was nice and give you a chance to play some topics, not like some other interviewers. And yes, we talked about industry. Are we becoming a commodity? That's the way many industries go. And when that happens, then consolidation happens. We see a lot of this consolidation starting to begin, but what do you see at Faultline? You have the finger on the pulse. How bad is it? How bad will it get?
Well, you know, it does seem quite an obvious sort of trend to point out, but you know, I really honestly think that people don't realize the extent of it and how quickly it's happening and how brutally it's happening. You know, in subsections of the industry like the codec patent pools, but then also kind of right in front of our faces, you know, and the fragmentation of content providers, you know, or subscription stacking as it's popularly called. I think that's kind of coming to a head now. We're looking at more intense consolidation. You just look at just a couple of days ago, Disney has just announced that by the end of this year, Disney Plus and Hulu are going to be merged into a single app. I know. What does that mean? That means higher subscription prices. It means less content because Disney will start pulling certain titles from this unified app experience, whatever it's going to look like. And it's also going to slash its original content production budget as a result. And that practically mirrors what Warner Brothers Discovery kind of just announced in a press conference a couple of weeks ago with HBO Max and Discovery Plus becoming just Max. You know, that was totally expected, but that ultimately means consumers are going to pay more for less, all because, you know, the giants of the industry are now under immense pressure to turn a profit. They're going to do anything it takes to turn a profit because they grossly overspent before and during the pandemic, and it's going to cost people their jobs. We've seen a lot of that. And the consolidation of streaming services is going to mean less competition, less choice, so higher prices, fewer options, and that is going to have a ripple effect on the ecosystem far and wide. And on that note, you know, we have a webinar on recession economies coming up in a few weeks, early June, I believe, and that's going to offer a lot more insights into, you know, how prepared the vendors are, you know, to trim off the fat where necessary, and whether they've put the contingency plans in place.
Yeah, we need some intelligence, artificial intelligence versus real intelligence. What did you see at NAB? I mean, there was a lot of hype about ChatGPT, Bard, and all the stuff. Is there something behind it already, and where?
I saw maybe 1 or 2 demos of ChatGPT at NAB, and nothing was mind-blowing at all. You know, we had a chat offline about, you know, the power of generative AI on our day jobs, you know, and there are some neat gimmicks that, you know, can save us some time here and there, but ultimately, you know, it's a tool, I think, that organizations can embrace, and they can plug it into their existing products and services to do some of the dirty work. Embrace it, don't resist it. That's how I can summarize it. I've tried it for my day job. My day job is writing articles. I asked ChatGPT to write an article, and it read like a politician speaks, you know, very repetitive but very convincing, saying the same thing over and over again but in a different structure.
Tommy, you should have said, write something in Tommy Flanagan style.
It doesn't know who I am, man.
Oh, come on. So, talking about NAB, you have a fantastic story that I did not read online. What's that blue thing on that little shelf I see over there?
Oh, this little thing. This little thing.
What is that?
This little thing. Yeah. Well, this is for no specific category per se, but let's just say it was gifted to me for contributions to the industry. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the entire Faultline family for their unwavering support over the years, and of course a huge thanks to you, Andy, for connecting the dots. And I think it's the least I deserve, really. So that's my acceptance speech.
Absolutely. Are you going to tell us the whole story?
Okay, I'm a terrible liar. Okay. We were at the awards ceremony. Everyone's getting an award. I've had a few beers for Dutch Courage, and they're reeling off all of these names, and there's a bit of a backlog. There's a bit of a queue to get onto the stage. So I thought I just kind of crept myself into the queue, and then all of a sudden I'm on the stage and I'm shaking hands, and I walk off, and I've accepted an award, and I go back to my table, and all of a sudden, and it was as simple as that, and it just happened so quickly. I didn't realize how easy it would be, and there we go. So there we go. The cat's out the bag now. You've got that expose, Andy. That's an exclusive.
Wow. So now you demystify the whole industry. That's how awards work. You just queue up and you get it, and then you make a big press release. Amazing. You didn't even pay for it.
I was hoping to be a judge at some point at the NAB Product Awards, but yeah, I'm not sure that's going to happen now. Well,
let's see. Cheers to that. Yes. So last question, Tommy. You know it. I give you $100 million. What would you do with it? Not retire, no boats, no bikes.
Firstly, I'd invest in some of the recording and lighting equipment that you've got in your setup. because I'm very jealous of your setup, Andy. Then I'd hire a few more reporters so we could expand the reach of our publication. Then, if there's anything left, I'd probably invest in some kind of green technology streaming startups, because even though that might not be a sensible bet, I'm not a gambling man, but creating a better world for our children is ultimately more important than making money, which is not something, by the way, I would ever write on the pages of Faultline. But as you asked me the question, that's my honest answer. And
yep.
I have a question for you, Andy, to finish on. Would you accept an invitation onto the Faultline podcast so we can, complete this incestuous industry circle?
Absolutely, would be my pleasure.
Fantastic.
Tommy, great discussion. I think you absolutely deserve the award for the best product of the year, of the century, probably.
I appreciate it, Andy. Thank you. I may be banned from NAB forever by revealing that, but it was worth it speaking to you. So thanks for having me on.
You could always offer to bring it back if they really insist.
And carve a 4 where the 3 is. Yeah.
Tommy, thank you for being here on my podcast. Yeah, let's take that for the closing shot. Thank you very much. Cheers, and see you very soon somewhere on the planet.
Cheers. See you soon.
Take care. Bye.